Jody Marie Simone, Elite Miss Nevada, and you are listening to Happy Earth Market Podcast.
Okay, good. Ready?
Yeah, ready. All right.
Hi, everybody. This is Happy Earth Market Podcast, and I'm Sam.
I'm Nathan.
And today we have...
Hi, my name is Jody Marie Simone, and I'm your Elite Miss Nevada.
Hey, what's up, Jody?
So we met you a long time ago. It feels like forever ago. It was before our soft opening even.
Yes.
And you found us in our mission statement and our code of ethics, Happy Earth Market. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you guys came to my zero waste class.
Zero waste class,
and
yeah.
it was amazing. And then you told me about what you guys were doing, and I was like, I need to be a part of that group.
Yeah, and then you came and you did a really amazing commercial for us, and it was such a beautiful...
So we didn't have anything in here when we did that either. There was like nothing in the store.
but we made it work. We did.
It was the best gift you could have given us.
Totally.
It really did show like, okay, well maybe this is going to work because somebody actually cares enough to be here and create something themselves for Happy Earth Market. For Happy Earth Market, without getting anything in return except just supporting.
Support and love.
And wow, you're amazing. And then watching your journey, let's get into it. What are you doing?
Okay,
Miss
so
Elite?
yes,
Come
so
on.
I will be competing in Washington, D.C. the 10th through the 15th of July, and I am Elite Miss Nevada, and I'm hopefully going to win Elite Miss Earth. And for me, this competition has been more than just a competition. It's something that I solely my whole heart is into it. I am an earth warrior. I've been one for a very long time, more than half of my life.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, it's a beauty for a cause, using your voice for what you believe in. It's amazing the type of recognition you get when you have a crown and a sash. And it's amazing the community support that you get. And for me, I already had amazing support before I won the crown, which gave me that sense of, just like you said, the accomplishment and hope and motivation, because when you have people that believe in you and what you do, there's nothing that can stop you.
Oh, totally.
So I'm excited to be able to use my voice and to use this crown and sash for the things that I believe in, and I find that that's super important. People just need to find their voice and actually use it.
It's really cool, I think. So from my perspective, looking at beauty pageants and all that,
Yes.
I think of, what's that little fat chubby girl that drinks Mountain Dew with her mom and the kid?
Oh, the show.
So that whole society thing of what beauty pageants are, that's what I believe they are. And I know I'm not the only one to think that.
No,
because that's what
definitely
we've been
not.
sold on, right?
Absolutely.
So when you came here with your awesome little sash on, I'm like, okay.
Tell me about it.
See, and you're not wearing any makeup.
No.
You're not wearing fancy clothes, although your clothes are adorable.
I specifically picked up this pineapple shirt for this podcast.
But it's fun because you're against everything that society has taught me what beauty pageantism is, and all ism, because everything is an ism.
Yeah, right. Can
You're
I elaborate on that a little
Please
bit?
tell me how you do it and be so natural in this environment that seems like you're out of place.
Unnatural. Yeah, so for me, my first ever beauty pageant was 3 years ago, and I woke up one day and I was like, hey, I've never done that before. I'm going to cap out on age. Why not just do it? Why not give it a shot? And I've been modeling for a while, which is a little bit different than pageantry. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Why not? Same thing when I went skydiving. I was like, I've never been skydiving. Let me try it. And so I had the same idea that you had. I bought a lock for my dress because people, are mean, and the girls are mean and rude, and all they care about is themselves. And so I show up on my day one, like so nervous, like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know how to like put eyeshadow on and all this stuff. Like, what am I going to do, And then I get there and I'm surrounded by really nice women. And I was kind of like, okay, I went to an all-girls high school and college, so I am very familiar with females and I'm very familiar with, certain behaviors. And I'm like, okay, like I'm waiting for something. And it never happened. And I met some of my best friends through pageantry.
That's amazing.
And so for me, I was just like, I went in, I was so scared, I was so nervous, and I had the best time of my life because not only was I going outside of my own comfort zone, which helped me learn and grow as an individual, I met some of the most impactful, powerful women in our community.
Right.
So to know that, I'm not alone in this, that there are other women who are trying to use their voice for what they believe in, gave me again that sense of hope. So for me, I did it again because I'm like, wow, if I met that many friends my first year, I'm more confident, I'm more comfortable. I know what to expect. And so my second year, I actually ended up winning Miss Congeniality, which for me was just absolutely amazing. I competed after being in a car accident 5 days before the competition.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't even know how I did it. It must have been pure adrenaline. But to hear my name be called for Miss Congeniality, meaning that the contestants voted for me to win, just warmed my heart, because that's what I was there for. I was there to make friends. I was there to have a good time, to learn and grow as an individual. And people think, you're competing with all of these other girls, but you're really just competing with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what sparked for me was, I was an athlete my whole life, and I always competed against myself. But it was like, what can I do to improve to make myself better? What can I do to improve to make my voice stronger? It had nothing to do with all those other girls, And like for me, I'm competing against gorgeous women, and it's amazing that I was able to step out of my comfort zone and to do that, and just to, be who I am, and not change that to conform to society standards of what a beauty pageant contestant should look like or should act like.
Right.
And so for me, it's just, it was just amazing. And then I competed for the Miss Earth organization, which it just touched me right at home, because that is what I am. I believe in it so much, and I live my life by it.
You do.
And so when I won the state crown, I was like, there's nothing that can stop me right now. Like, I am on a mission, and I always tell people, with or without the crown, I am going to continue to be who I am. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue to, use my voice. So this is just a stepping stone in my life. So.
I do believe that you're going to make an impact on society.
Yeah.
It's by being a voice. You already have, definitely. But as you keep, I don't see how you can't keep climbing this ladder of greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and you just continue to keep doing that to where eventually maybe you're Miss Universe, who knows?
Right. Yeah.
If that's the case, then you have a platform that's vital for our sustainable future. I mean, it's vital, and I don't keep up with the whole pageantry. The whole big picture of all of it, and I don't know how many Earth Warriors there really are in it. True ones, not just talkers, but doers.
Right.
Because you're a doer. And in the classes that you offer, it's so awesome. And we had to come support you, because it's important. I love seeing people doing things like that. That's like, hey, community, this is a better way to do things. Come see what I've learned.
Right. Well, most people, they just don't know they don't know what's going on. And so they need to reach out to their peers that have something like that. So to do the classes for me was just a way to use my voice for, people who just didn't know the right step to take. And I've done it. I struggled, and I, picked myself up from it. So I feel like I would be able to share my knowledge to other people who may not know the right path.
And so let's get into the classes.
Well, I just want to ask you a question. So I know you weren't born living sustainable.
Right.
Like, it was a process. It's like a process for us always. So what's the story? What got you into it in the first place? Why?
Right. So it's important for everybody to realize that we are all on our own journey. So we shouldn't judge people for their path. But for me, I grew up in a Native American household, my mother's side. And so I already had a deep sense of connection to our Mother Earth and all living things. We would go camping and sleep in teepees and go and do all of these like really fun things that have to do with Mother Nature. And when I was 14, I realized that, I just didn't want to harm any of Mother Earth's creatures, meaning animals and sea life. And so I refused to consume them, because for me, I wanted to do the very best that I could. Right. Now, when I went vegan for the animals. I didn't know about the environmental impact on it. I didn't know the health. I didn't know any of that.
Sure, neither.
You're just saving the animals.
Yeah, I was just like, I just don't want to harm animals. Like, it's
adorable.
not like that's all I want. Like, great. I don't want to harm animals. I just don't understand. And it wasn't until I actually moved to California in 2012 when I started to realize that, wow, like, I'm from a small town in Ohio, like middle of nowhere, under 500 people.
What town is that?
West Farmington.
West Farmington. Not that I know, just curious.
Yeah, no, middle of nowhere. And I moved to California, this huge city, and just to see how many people were environmentally friendly.
To LA or?
Anaheim,
okay.
California. Yeah. So it was really exciting, because for the first time I've ever met a vegetarian, and I was just like, oh, be my friend, like, this is awesome, because people back in Ohio, they didn't even know like what tofu was.
No, we just spent the week in Oklahoma, and it was very difficult to eat clean or even find anything without meat in it.
Yeah.
It was very difficult.
Yeah. So moving to California, I learned a little bit more about the environmental aspects, being close to the ocean and, just seeing all the the garbage and trash in the ocean. I slowly, it's one of those things that, you think you're doing the best at that moment, which is great. And then you learn more and you're like, wow, I thought I was doing so awesome, this whole time. And so I'd say like the last maybe 2.5 years, 3 years is really when I pushed to, try to live a more zero waste lifestyle. And of course, there's no such thing as zero waste because it's 2018 and you always produce waste. But it's about doing the very best you can and in any situation. So if you can do the very best you can, like I always say, if you can just eliminate using plastic straws, like if a million people did that, that'd be over 4 million plastic straws that wouldn't be put in the environment. And that's one simple task.
Right.
So for me, it's like, I'm not telling you to drop everything and to not use, not to use paper and don't use trash, but it's just, if you just eliminate a little bit of it. And back to veganism, a long time ago, I was upset at people who wouldn't go vegan. But when I hear people, if everybody did a meatless Monday,
Totally.
that would save millions of lives, millions of the rainforest.
When I talk to people about what they can, because people ask us a lot, what can I do for the environment because of what we are about? And I say the number one thing you can do, the absolute best thing you can do is slow your meat consumption down. I don't tell people stop eating meat, but you got to slow it down because just the overall impact of everything that goes involved in meat production is, we can go on and on, but it takes a lot to get that meat to your plate.
Right.
And so if you just stop that even just once a week, like you said, it's huge.
I find that it goes, a lot of people don't even realize how much meat they consume, right? Because, you think about, you have your breakfast items that are meat, and then you have your lunch meat, and then you have your dinner meat. And then you have all the animal product on top of it, all the dairy stuff that goes with all of the meat on every single meal. It's like, if you can just eliminate, say, instead of going for that ham and cheese sandwich at lunch, why don't you go for some vegan nachos or
anything,
a peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's so many options
Change
out there.
one item out of your day.
Absolutely.
And it makes a huge impact. And the straws thing is a big one.
Yeah.
And that's one of the funnest ones I enjoy doing out in public.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you get so many questions. They're like, "What do you mean you don't want a straw?" And I was like, "That's what these lips are for. Come on."
Yeah.
We actually changed somebody's mind. So when you were a kid, you were told you needed a straw because you couldn't tip the cup and it would spill on you, right? So when did that change? That you're not a big boy anymore?
You're a big boy drinking a cup like a baby boy.
Yeah.
You need a straw.
It's like one of those moments that you just realize why do you even use straws?
Why do we?
Why
do? Yeah.
Because they sell it to us.
Yeah.
Put it in the cup and it's reactionary.
I don't wrap plastic over my fork.
Yeah.
I don't wrap plastic over my this, that. And those are and somebody else drink off that cup. Well, what about that metal fork you're eating off
in
of?
your
Well,
mouth?
that's one of the things I actually hear the most is
Yeah.
ew, well, I'm at a restaurant, I'm not drinking you're drinking the content that's in the cup.
Yeah.
That's just as gross. And of course, there's people who have disabilities and there are people who are in need.
Totally.
But, again, it's doing the very best that you can. And if you don't need it, you shouldn't use it.
Shouldn't use it.
That's
And-
Point
It's a
blank.
need and a want. So
Yeah,
that's the difference.
exactly.
Every once in a while, sometimes you'll order something, you get to tell them, you know what I'm saying?
Or you tell them and they still bring
Oh,
it.
that pisses Sam off the most. He's like, I said no straw.
And then it's already in your water.
Take it
I get
easy.
angry.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
I know.
And then I have to give them the lecture, do you realize that this straw, besides the impact that it's making on the environment after I'm done using it, it's going in the garbage.
Forever.
To get here, though, it's a petroleum oil byproduct that we
So
don't work
we're
for.
fighting wars over it. Kids are
We've
dying
lost
over it.
people in this war for this plastic straw that you just gave me that I asked not to have.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me
I
this
always
bad
tell
karma.
people that this movement is above all of us. This is for future generations. One of my favorite quotes is, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children."
That's really
Meaning that it's a Native American proverb that most people live their lives selfishly for their needs without consideration of anybody else. For me to think that animal agriculture causes 14,000 acres every day to be destroyed, as an earth warrior, how can you even be okay with that? Even if you forget about the animals, the welfare of the animals.
Totally.
I would, I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews, and I would want them to be able to go to the Amazon and experience that if they want. But 91% of the rainforest being destroyed and Amazon is for animal agriculture.
People go, well, at least we're getting the wood out of it, and that's a misconception. No, you're not getting the wood out of it. They're just lighting it on fire.
Yeah.
Which causes tremendous environmental impacts because
Gigantic.
they soak up all the bad stuff.
Yep.
And what do you think happens when you burn it? It goes right back into the atmosphere.
It's not only that, they literally, when they light that, so all of that forest is being burnt. And so, I mean, all that forest is taking in carbon dioxide, right?
Right.
And so when you light it on fire like that, it's basically releasing a carbon dioxide bomb.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so then what you have is just all this brand new carbon dioxide, and the earth just cannot, it was never intended to filter that fast.
Right, exactly. And not even thinking about like all the animals and, orangutans, and I mean, they don't go and capture them before they just burn it down.
And bugs and all the possibilities that those places have that we have yet to even look at. All the plant medicines there. I mean, the cure for eye aches could be there. We don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're just going to burn it.
Well, and it all goes down to education, though. I mean, ignorance truly is our problem in this country, especially because we are not told anything, and none of us care enough to look at it because we're so distracted by Trump tweets. That we don't
Social
care.
media.
We don't care enough to look up.
I can't do it no more.
Look up the rainforest being chopped down.
Celebrities,
for animal agriculture.
Sports is
politics,
big one.
religion. It's all meant to divide us instead of just coming together.
Or at least distract us.
Distract us. It's really meant to distract us from the truth, which is, like what we just talked about, the rainforest being cut down for agriculture. A lot of people have heard that or burned down. A lot of people hear it, but they don't really truly understand it. They go, oh, that sucks. That's sad. Oh, right. Without going, why? Why do they do that? And going on their little fancy keyboard that they hold in their hand, checking Facebook and Instagram all day, instead of using it as the tool that it truly is and learning about why we're destroying our earth. Why? Oh, because I eat meat. Oh, shit. I'm not going to do this anymore because this is bad.
Right.
And that's just one example, of course. There's a zillion examples of all the things where all of us earth warriors, tree huggers, all the bad libtards, whatever. There's a lot of names for us that are derogatory according to them. If they just understood why we fight for what we fight for, then they might go, oh, that makes sense. Maybe I should be a tree hugger too. That kind of makes sense.
I truly am done fighting with people. Like, I'm done getting in their face or doing even the activism thing. I'm kind of done. I'm just going to live in a way that I understand works and that sets a good example. Follow or don't. There's nothing I can do. People are only going to change by your actions, not by.
Well, when you change yourself, your world starts to change around you.
Totally.
So I tell people, if you live by example and you walk the walk instead of talking the talk, those people around you are going to want to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and they're going to want to participate.
Totally.
And what's funny is most vegans said that they would never be able to go vegan.
Yeah.
I said I would never be able to reduce waste because, like, how can you, like, well, what about this and what about that? And you just learn and you just practice and it just takes a little bit of time.
It's fun to figure out too.
Oh yeah, there's so many awesome resources.
I'm not vegan yet, but I'm vegetarian, and even just learning how to eat, right, is crazy. So the only meat we really have in our house is we do make our dogs dog food, and so we boil chicken, right? And then we add rice and stuff to it. And I was talking to my wife this morning, I'm like, I never thought there'd be a day where the smell of chicken made me nauseous.
Oh yeah.
It totally did though, finally.
My dad gets the same way. He was like, how was I able to ever eat that before? Because once you take it out and you fill your plate with fresh fruits and vegetables and grains and legumes, and you're eating this life force food, you're like, how can I go back to death? Is ultimately what it is.
And the karma value, and like, I remember we went to like peace begins at your plate. I really do believe that, and we went to that panel too with Jody and everybody, and it's true. Like, the karmic value that you feel from not eating the death, like you're saying, is better. I just feel better about what I'm eating. I don't feel like I caused any destruction. And the only, like, as far as meat goes, the only meat I'm ever probably going to eat again is if a family member hunted it.
See, and I'm glad you brought that up because being Native American, my grandfather is a huge hunter, and he greatly influenced me to go vegan, even though he doesn't know it because of things I've seen and, just not wanting to partake in that. But him and I used to go back and forth on it. I was like, I'm not judging you. If more people, I would never be able to do it. I'm against harming animals. I'm against that completely. But I'm against animal agriculture. I'm against torture. I'm against imprisonment. I'm against all of that. So for my grandpa to hunt 1 deer and 2 turkeys a year to feed his family,
it's completely different.
That's like, well, people are like, oh, well, my family, they live on an island. Fishing for what you need versus mass destruction is night and day. I'm not telling you to do, if more people would actually go and do that, our environment would be different. And most people can't kill the animal themselves.
I think that if you're going to be a meat eater, you have a responsibility to that life that you took to understand where your meat came from. And I'm not just talking about going to the butcher shop. You have to go and commit the act. And I took my son out to commit the act, and we did it. You know what I mean? I'm not against hunting, but you cannot be. I don't think you have even the right to eat meat if you're not willing to take that life yourself.
Most people aren't. They used to always say I was a bad hunter. They made the joke, you're a bad hunter. And I was like, I can't do it. And you know what? If the fact that my grandfather does that and provides, meat without hormones and without
that's beautiful
GMOs and all of this stuff.
Completely
and
different ballgame.
that animal wasn't imprisoned. And again, I don't condone it. And I'm not for it because I still don't believe in taking any life, because why is my life more valuable than any other life on this planet?
Your life.
And it's not needed. Exactly. It's 2018. Like, it's completely unnecessary. But when you go to Alaska, in certain parts of Alaska, they have to do what they have to do, but they don't mass kill. They take what they need and use every single part of it. And for me, just being vegan half of my life, it's hard to tell people that, because I even get attacked by some vegans that say that. And I'm like, listen, I am saying I would never do it. I don't condone it. I don't tell people to do it. But I am against animal agriculture. It's completely unnecessary. It's unnatural. It's sick. It's just all wrong. And anybody who's listening, if you're not sure, what goes on, just YouTube it real quick. You just need to watch literally 10 seconds, and hopefully your life could be changed.
One of the last things that changed my mind, because I was slowly making the change anyways, like I was turning like an aircraft carrier.
You didn't really have a choice. That's all he was getting at home.
That's true. But when I would be out, I would eat regular.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of good food out there. Anyhow, but a friend of ours in LA, who's a big animal activist, he goes to the slaughterhouses on the day that the trucks are coming in, and they all feed the animals,
give
and
water.
They give water, bless them. And I was like, what do you, they don't get food? No. Once they hit those trucks, that's it. They're living in their own feces. They're living in their own. They're falling and breaking their legs.
Up to 3, 4, 5 days sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes 7. Sometimes 7.
In all the
or
elements.
overseas.
Overseas, exactly.
The weather that they're enduring on those trucks.
I just couldn't believe it.
And to think that those people are classified as terrorists kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
To think that you can get arrested and put in jail for life for giving a living, beautiful being water in 100-degree weather.
Unbelievable.
Because you're stopping production for corporations.
And they've proven that cows are sad, and they've proven that they do know that they're about to be killed.
Oh, yeah.
And they do know. Have you seen the movie Okja?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That movie's
I refrained from watching it because I just didn't want to tear. But what people don't realize is, because we don't speak their language, people think it makes us superior. Yeah. It's like, okay, so no wonder why we treat foreigners the way people treat foreigners, because we don't speak their language.
And it's we're super hypocritical, especially in America, because we condone other countries for having dog farms.
Oh, yeah.
Example. Dog farms, farming dogs for little puppies for food. It's done in other countries. However, you think of the animal size variant, all that stuff. How is that not okay? But it's okay for us to use cows and pigs and chickens and put them in the exact same harsh environment. Is it because we don't have cows and pigs and chickens as pets here?
Well, what's sad is that pigs are actually smarter than dogs and are as smart as 3-year-old children. So when people start realizing, chickens love giving hugs. They actually come up with their little wings, and people think it's scary, but they just want to hug you and love you, and they don't know any different. We are here. We have the conscience to make these decisions to protect these living beings, just like children. I compare animals to children. They are innocent, and they need our protection and love. And for us to violate that because we can't communicate with them, or we think we're superior than them, and for me, people always wonder, okay, there's so much crazy stuff going on in the world, and humans are killing humans, and for me, if you can't even be compassionate enough to protect an innocent, living, sentient being, why do you think people would care about another human being?
Exactly. What's the difference? Yeah.
If you can't, the most gentle, sweet, living being that feels pain, sadness, has family, could feel love, and all of these, why would that person, care about protecting another human if you can't even do just the basic, compassion? If we think back to when we were children, You know, like if you put a bunny and you put an apple in a crib, the child's not going to use its claws and teeth to kill a bunny. It's going to try to eat the apple, play with the bunny, maybe tug on its ears a little bit, you know. But if you look back at children, they're the most innocent beings, and we have to learn from them because we get conditioned to learn and to think otherwise. So
however they want us to buy.
Exactly.
Which is, you know, goes to the plastic problem and everything else. Right. You know, it's really sad working with some of the people that we work with here at the Earth Market and learning that the kids don't even know that, you know, when they go to the grocery store, they buy a bag full of apples. They have no idea the apple even grows on a tree. Literally, the first time they get to see a tree with apples and they pick it themselves, they're just so shocked. Like, what? It grows on a tree? What? I thought it just comes in plastic at the grocery store. You know, we're so detached from our human roots, which is food, that it's really disconnected us from everything. And when we go to the market and we buy our hamburger that's wrapped in plastic, we don't see the cows, the 17,000 cows that are in that little pound of hamburger because it's all mixed together. We don't even consider it, you know. And
well, why is an apple called an apple pie, but a cow is called a hamburger or a steak? They change names so that, because if you said, oh, do you guys want some cow tonight? You know, do you guys want some pig tonight? It would change that concept of the way people think.
I just use the word dead animal now. That's for all of them.
It's true, though.
Across the board, and it's fun to do because it makes people go, wait, what? I don't like the sound of that. Well, that's what it is. You're eating dead animal. You can label it whatever kind of animal you want, but the fact is that was a living animal, just like I am a living animal on this planet.
You know, the very basic do unto others as you would want done to yourself. Others is literally any living, you know, being on this planet. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, well, plants have feelings too. Well, even on a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, you're still saving more plants than if you were to eat, you know, a meat-based diet.
Because the amount of food they grow for animals is like what is it, like 70% of our crops or 60% of our crops?
It's even more than that now. And to think, like, you know, it's about the animals, it's about the environment, but it's about other people. 83% of all starving children come from countries where they grow food to send here to feed animals, to feed Western countries. So we don't have a world hunger issue.
No.
We don't have a world
thirst issue. So it's 36% of U.S. crops go to the livestock. So it's almost 50%. That's ridiculous.
I mean, that can, you know, stop, you know, you guys do amazing things for, you know, the homeless out here in Vegas. And it's just, you know I partner with Food Not Bombs and we do a lot of great stuff. And to think that we have to fight against these very industries that could stop it all, it's just, it's heartbreaking. But you know what? The movement's happening. More and more people are waking up. And like you said, you don't have to drop it. You just have to
change a little
less.
Just change a little.
That brings me to something I wanted to talk about, which is food rescue. Or you're still doing stuff like that?
Yes.
So explain what food rescue is.
So in a lot of parts of the country, it's actually illegal. But food rescuing is taking perfectly good produce that was going to be thrown away and either consuming it yourself or donating it to great causes. Food Not Bombs is an international organization, nonprofit, that brings awareness about this food waste. So, for example, my boyfriend and I got 200 pounds of perfectly ripe bananas with brown spots and everything. But stores can't keep brown bananas.
Did you say 200 pounds?
Huge crates. We had ice cream for months. Like, it was ridiculous. And to think that this food was just going to be thrown away. And I know you guys saw the picture that I did a while back on food waste.
Love that
I got painted. It is on my social media if anybody wants to see it. I did get painted like our Mother Earth. And I was surrounded by produce. Beautiful produce that was pulled from the trash.
And flowers.
Yes, flowers, plants, everything. Like almost all the plants and flowers in our house were just thrown away, like they didn't, you know, that they didn't mean anything because they didn't fit into consumerism standards of, you know,
pretty vanity.
The pretty, But you know what's funny is you give it a little tender love and care, and they grow back even even better, and the food is like perfectly ripe. Like, I go into store, I can't find ripe bananas, so I have to buy them, and then I have to wait. And it's like, and here they are, like, it's like, you know. And it's so funny, my boyfriend comes home and he has a thing of flowers, and I was like, please tell me you got that from the trash. So it's like it goes against that,
That's funny.
where you have to, and it goes even along the lines of like using thrift stores and just reusing and doing clothes exchanges and stuff like that. Is we don't have world hunger, we don't have world thirst,
World waste.
it's a world waste issue. It's exactly
Even your local florists, like the florists here, they give us all of their petals, like because we use them for meditations and a bunch of stuff. And so we just walked over there. Can we have your scraps? Like, what do you want that for? I'm like, we just use it for this and that. So they bring us by the garbage bag.
Yeah.
Petals for us to use.
And it's the same with like we got a tailor shop too over here, and same thing. They have extra fabric.
Scraps.
Hey, if you have, because I went to the dumpster one time,
Yeah.
and there's a whole gigantic box of my curtains actually that you see hanging up.
Oh wow.
We rescued that, and Sadie sewed them up.
I'm like, well, so wait a minute.
Good job, Sadie.
They're just throwing away this wonderful fabric. There's nothing wrong with it, but because they don't
Look
need
at that fabric; it's amazing.
they're just gonna throw it out. And so many companies and industry does that. They throw away so much stuff that
It's ridiculous.
and this is just a small shop next door that we're talking about. Imagine like the big
A huge textile place.
big
or
textile places, and the stuff that they're throwing away.
FTD level
It could
florists.
clothe the world. It could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things too that it goes against that disconnection that people have. Like I have always, for a long time have worked directly with homeless. I did a homeless experience in Cleveland where I actually walked around. I was a teenager, and it was actually very scary, and I did it in high school, and we had to be homeless for a day. And what we did is we went to food shelters, and we carried around our garbage bag, and we got treated like crap. And I'm sitting here like, I'm a child. And you're going to treat me like that? Like, I'm a human being.
Where's your compassion?
I got so angry and so frustrated, but it's like they weren't taught to have that compassion.
My honest opinion of it all is just huge self-reflection. Like, if I treat you like it's your fault, I have no onus to help you. Well, get a fucking job. And I used to be that guy. I used to tell them, get a fucking job. Especially when we lived in Seattle, there's so many people begging in Seattle that I just became numb to that those are human beings suffering worse than I ever have. But through working through the homeless and having conversations with them, like, especially a lot of the men out there, the common story that we get is, and this is true, most of them aren't on drugs. Most of them, especially around 2009 and beyond, had lost their shitty job in the crash. Their family got kicked out of the house, and so they're just trying to make enough money in the day to keep their family in a weekly hotel. So they beg part of the day to get enough money, and then they look for work. Like, how many times have we heard this story? At least 3 that I can think of. It's a pretty common.
And like for me too, people always like, well, why do you give them money, or why do you give them? It is not my job to judge them for what they're doing. I would rather give $1 to somebody who would use it, and once I give it to them, I give them love and I give them grace, and I hope and that they would, use that wisely. And if they don't, that's not on me. I did what I needed to do, and I'm on to the next. So
talking with Food Not Moms, like, people, they're all mentally ill. Well, yeah, maybe they were kind of mentally ill when they were on the streets, but they're severely mentally ill now. So they're food starved, sleep deprived, always worried about being jumped and their stuff being taken. And every single person on the street that's not homeless they interact with is fucking mean. Now, I dare you to go into those conditions for any amount of time and be sane and not come out with some sort of PTSD.
Right. Well, back to my homeless experience, I was just in utter shock that as a child, first off, that I got treated that way. And what we would do is we would go into like food shelters to get food. And I remember, this was actually before I went vegan, and I had like a meat sandwich, and I looked at it and there was a fly. And I went back and asked for another one. And the staff actually was like, what do you think this is? And I'm like, well, don't I have the right to have a safe sandwich? And then when we told them what we were there, we ended up volunteering everywhere that we utilized. They were so nice to me. They were so thankful.
Change of tone, huh?
Yeah, and change of tone. And like you said,
you're one of us. You're not homeless.
Big part of the club.
Really?
Well, even just pulling into here, there was a guy. It's just, for all those viewers out there, it's 115 degrees right now.
So hot, my air conditioner's barely working.
And he's laying on the cement in the shade, which, as a lot of people in Las Vegas know, is still upwards of 90
if it's
to 98.
If it's 115 degrees, 110 degrees, it's about 10 degrees cooler. So it's still hot.
So not much.
Nope.
And people drive by and just think all these, and it's all about the negative energy. Like, people drive by and are like, oh, that guy's dirty, or oh, that guy,
unclean.
I wonder what he did in his life to deserve that. Well, maybe he didn't do anything to deserve that. You know, it just is. And we have the right to, we have to help those who are helpless, you know?
If we can, and that's the bottom line. I think, you know, people are always kind of saying, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? It's not a matter of how. It's a choice. I choose to help. I choose to do all these right things and be a do-gooder because I can. Right. And if I have the ability and if I'm blessed enough to be able to make an impact on somebody's life, then God damn it, I'm going to. Right. It's my responsibility. And I woke up today to do something. And what am I going to do with it? Yeah. You know, something for me again. It doesn't fulfill me, doesn't make me happy again. No, I'm going to do something for somebody else because that's more valuable. Yeah. And people are like, well, I don't have the money. Even if you go strike up a 5-minute conversation.
You know how much more valuable that is than money?
You would make their day. You know, there's a lot of YouTubers out there now who are going and doing that and delivering like food and new shoes.
It's great. I love all that
stuff. I mean, I have goosebumps talking about it because those people probably talked about that forever. Like, you changed their life, you know, like, that is amazing.
Well, you know, should. I like that. We should. Well, stop saying should and just do.
And I'm not bragging, but one of the things that we kept saying we should do is let's bring a trash bag on our walk in the morning. We should bring a trash bag when we go. So we started doing it.
We can only hold so many pieces of garbage on the way home. I mean, our hands are
full. So we started doing it.
Holding a leash on. It's very uncomfortable.
We started doing it. We bring a trash bag on our walk in the morning, and then we're just picking up because we walk through the desert. And we'd rather pick it up before it hit the lake, you know?
Right.
So,
absolutely.
And we're posting about it too, because people got to know we are, it's not waiting for a government agency. We are responsible to clean up our planet. We are responsible to help our people. We don't need, the government's never going to help. Trump's not your savior. Nothing's going to happen.
None of the presidents are.
None of the government is. They are just there to do legislation shit, whatever that is. If you actually want to help, you got to do it.
Yeah.
If you actually want things to change, you got to do it.
So that goes to how are you doing it? So besides being vegan, what are some other things that we can do? Let's talk about like the class.
So veganism is like the least amount of things that I'm doing for this Mother Earth.
Yes,
so
I know it is. That's the easy one.
Which is like, it just is what it is. It just makes sense to me. But getting out in the community, I host beach cleanups and other cleanups as well. Those are very important because when you can show the community that there's hope and that there's people doing that, people want to join and do that.
Now, they get involved.
How do you host that? How would I go about hosting a cleanup? What does that entail?
Well, so it depends on where you are. I guess it just depends on your skill level. So like for me, I work for a nonprofit Las Vegas ICO, Inspiring Connections Outdoors, and we take underserved youth out into nature on hiking experiences. So I have connections to different areas here in Vegas, but if it's a smaller group, you could just get your friends and family, take a bag and go out and enjoy the beach and pick up trash on the way. You can go on a hike and do the same thing. But for me, when I organize big events, 20, 25 people plus, I do have to get approval from certain areas. But I know we actually talked about this, but the good thing about it is then we don't have to pay for entry fee. We get publicity on it. And we get the support because they also bring people to help with the community. And for me, I'm really good at planning events. I'm really good at bringing the community together. And so you have to, Mother Teresa, for example, has this quote, I can do things better than you can. You can do things better than I can, but together we can do great things. And it's not about putting on the perfect event. It's about finding people in the community who have strengths and utilize those strengths. So for me, I'm great at bringing the community together. I'm great at hosting events because I've just done it for, a good part of my life. And to get those people to come together and then post about it on social media, you have to use social media to the advantage. People are on it, like we talked about earlier. People are utilizing it. So we need to use social media for our voice, because when people see that and it triggers something, like people who live by the beach their whole life, we're like, wow, like that's really amazing that you are taking time out of your day to clean up somebody else's mess. And my response is, if I don't do that, who else will?
Have you gotten any pushback or hatred from doing these things? None really.
None whatsoever.
You feel like you fucking do gutter or something?
No,
like that?
never.
That's
and
good.
I think it's
that's
just
surprising.
Because we have.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
It's the intention you put out there. I go out there saying, I'm going to have great people in my life. I'm not going to have anybody who's going to come and judge me. Those people can stay away. And it's all about manifesting, and it totally works. Before, when I was activist and I got angry at people and I yelled at people and I argued at people, I had people argue at me, I had people yell at me, and I had people hate me. When I go out, and if people aren't on this, who don't agree with what I give them love. And you kill them with kindness. And then they're like, okay, wait a second. Why is she being nice to me? I'm really, really confused. And I walk away with a little smirk on my face, like, that's how I was raised. Is that,
I got you.
yeah, that's,
you some light. Enjoy that, demon.
Exactly. Like, you know what? Obviously, that person needs a little bit more love in their life. So, knock on wood, I have gotten nothing but love from the community, from businesses, from leaders in the community, from friends and family, my workplace. Like, they support me so much that they actually came to my beach cleanup, and they had 8 people. And they brought their kids and their family.
So cool.
So we had 25 people who they believe and support in me. And so Vegas Homes Realty, I just posted a video about it. They came on their day off on Saturday to clean up the community. And we cleaned up 475 pounds of waste.
Where is that? Like, where
Lake
in the community? Like Mead?
Is Boulder Beach.
So at Lake Mead, I'm just curious, like, because we've seen a lot of trash there, and I ride there all the time. And I was just curious, like, why is this here? What's the most obscene piece of trash? All of it's obscene. I'm just curious.
Fishing wire.
Just the amount?
Bunches.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even fit it in a garbage bag. And it's plastic, really. What it is
it's fishing line. Yeah. You know what? I never thought. I have thrown so much fishing line when I was fishing, and I never thought about it until I saw it. I'm glad you brought that up because I saw you post. I was like, the amount of fishing line, and I'm not even a big fisher, and I've fished, but like I know people that you just cut. Oh, it's stuck on something. We just cut it. You know, I can't imagine.
And it starts collecting and collecting. And
a lot of those out there.
You do a lot of that, a lot of bottle caps. I mean, you see a lot of everything, which is really sad. But what I've noticed is all of it comes from corporations.
Right.
Almost all the trash produced is from corporations.
Like, what do you mean?
Like Pepsi Company. Like
okay.
Fast food restaurants.
That's what we consume. That is the products. That's all that's there.
Every time I can pick up a straw, I pat myself on the back for rescuing a turtle.
No, I mean, as you should. Like, that is a great deed that you do. And when people start to realize that you are doing good for the greater, it encourages you to want to do more. And I always have people that say, like, oh, you inspire me. If I didn't have the community support that I do, I wouldn't be inspired to do anything.
Keep doing it.
So I always tell people in my class, they're like, wow, you're so amazing. I love It's because of you guys that I do what I do. Because without you guys, I'd be talking to myself.
That is a great class. I loved it.
Yeah,
like the Jury's Waste-Free Living. It's really good.
Yeah, and you just gotta gotta tell people, like, there's no such thing as zero waste.
Nope.
I've had a lot of people beat themselves up because they got a to-go container, and it's doing the very best you can in any given situation, and it's gonna happen, and you're gonna produce waste. It's okay. It's baby steps. If like you said, if everybody did just a little bit, we wouldn't be in the situation we are, But back to like the things that I'm doing in the community, teaching the zero waste classes and holding a zero waste Facebook group where people can come together in the Las Vegas community specifically and ask questions about where can you get bulk, where can you compost, well, what about this, what about that, and people are able to come together and realize that they're not alone.
It's a community of people doing good things. Which
is amazing. Yeah. And then I was asked to be, this was 2 weekends ago, to be a speaker at Health, Healing, and Happiness, the 7th Annual Health Conference. And my course was Vegan 101, so it was right up my alley. And my intent was not to make people cry. It was a nonviolent presentation. But I helped people find their sense of connection. That there were so many, I had to stare. I was like staring at the ceiling because I couldn't look at people in the crowd because I was going to break down in tears. And I had so much positive feedback. I got asked to speak in San Francisco. I got asked to speak in Huntington Beach. And I got asked to speak in Sedona.
Fantastic.
So they were like, you put it in a way that you connected with others. And I'm like, that's because I'm real. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Beauty is not perfect.
We live in the society we live in. It just is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we're not all, I would love to live off the grid but problem's still going to exist.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if my goal is to move off the grid, but I'm not ready yet. My mom always says, why would you leave a small town and go to a city? And I'm like, a city needs my help.
Yeah.
You guys, it's a high Amish, community. Yeah. They don't produce a lot of waste. They have their own farms there. They produce their own meats. They produce their own eggs, their own bakery. They're not the problem. But when cities change, other cities want to change. And then smaller cities want to change. So I told my mom, I have to come to a city. I have to use my voice. There's more people out here to impact,
Absolutely. And if cities can change,
That's San Francisco.
San Francisco, they just
beautiful. Oh my gosh, they don't have any garbage anymore.
They're just they really are saving.
That's
they
crazy.
realize how much money they're actually saving by going waste free or trying to. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's always uncomfortable at first, just like anything else. I always tell people, like, Oh, well, most people fear the unknown, right? So for me, when I was learning how to play piano, I sucked. I wanted to cry. I was horrible. I wanted to quit. I did quit. I gave up. I got back. I did it again. I practiced. I mean, it took me like 3 years until I was able to do it.
Right.
And so I tell people that story because everybody has something. Like, I was a basketball player. I wasn't born good at basketball.
Player, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have to practice. You have to try different things. You have to research. You have to get out there. You have to find like-minded individuals to make these changes, because it's not just going to happen overnight. I mean, it can, but most likely it's not going to.
It can't.
And, you know, it took me about a year of, most people when they go on like their zero waste journey, they throw out all their stuff and they want to get all the new
And
stuff.
they suffer horribly, and then they go right to the bad stuff.
And then it's like, for me, I'm going to use what I have already.
It's already here.
It's already here.
Already
I already
in the
bought it.
universe,
It's
already going to
here.
go in the landfill
I'm going to use it. I'm going to, do this
Change
thing.
that.
Yeah. So
If we
it's,
have plastic, like we have Ziploc bags, we try to reuse them as many times
Yeah.
as we can, that kind of stuff. So let me ask you, so we kind of pride ourselves on how many times we take out our garbage.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? How many times do you put, how many,
Yes, I know that one.
how many times you put your can out in a month?
So I have, like the Trader Joe's brown
Yes.
garbage bags.
Yeah,
I use about one of those, but most of it is recycled materials.
sure.
Now my compost bin has been full for a while.
Yeah, I understand
Viewers
that.
don't know, but my boyfriend and I eat about 80 to 85% of fruits and produce, which
Sure.
produces a lot of
A lot of
scraps.
scrap, yeah.
Which, of course, is still considered waste. But everything that we try to do is, plastics 1 and 2 can be recycled. So if we
Mhm.
do have to buy plastic, just buy plastics 1 and 2 so you can make sure it can
find
be
it.
recycled. Right.
Find it.
That's almost like,
Why don't we explain okay, so a lot of people didn't even know what that means. What does
Yeah.
plastic 1 and 2 mean? Explain to us, and how do we find
Yes.
out that there's 1 or 2? What does that mean?
So
How
what's
many
really
numbers
cool
is there in this plastic
is
thing?
there's 7. So what's really cool about it is if you live here in Las Vegas, call Republic Services. They give you free recycling tours, and you can learn everything you need to know about recycling. And what's really cool about them is the first time in 2018 that they've ever been approved to have an education budget.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they're able to do
Really?
those.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. That's
You can
cool.
get free tours. There they go and show you the whole shebang. They talk to you about, everything. So this plastics 1 through 7. 1 and 2 are plastics that can be recycled. As funny as this may sound to people, plastic is actually like a black market.
Mhm.
Is that if plastic number 5 sometimes can be recycled depending on who's willing to buy it.
Yeah.
So, but plastics 1 and 2 can always be recycled. So when you get towards like the 6 and 7s, that's the most toxic plastic, first off. It cannot be recycled because it's a combination of so many different types of plastic that they can't even have a name for it,
Right.
because it's just a mixture of plastics, which most fast food restaurants and processed foods and straws and single-use plastic comes from plastic number 7 because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So, like pressed juice or, press for juice.
Yeah.
In
7 is
Italy.
like acrylic, polyurethane,
Yeah.
fibers, neon fiberglass. 6 is toys, hard packing, refrigerators, trays, cosmetics. So if you didn't know that, if you're using cosmetics, you're putting plastic all over your face. Plastic bags, costume jewelry, CD cases, that kind of thing. And then the good plastic, we could say, is soft drink bottles, mineral water, fruit juices, containers, and cooking oil and stuff like that. Yeah.
Which is usually your plastics 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2, and then 6 and 7 are obviously the worst, and then 3, 4, and 5 kind of have a little bit of all that stuff in it, but the 6 and 7 are
Yeah.
the gross ones.
What's crazy and what I got a lot of is most people don't know that, like, if you don't wash out your juice, if you get a juice from Whole Foods and you let it dry out and you throw it in the recycling bin, it actually cannot be recycled because they don't have people who they pay to clean it. They need clean plastic. So same with glass and same with paper. People are like, oh, I bought a pizza box, I'm gonna recycle it. If it has grease on it, it can't be recycled. So not only are they sending it to the recycling center, they're wasting money at the recycling center who can't use that money to properly recycle
There
things.
needs to be
And
a
then it's
PSA
still-
about that, I think.
Yeah.
Or something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the public should probably learn here.
It's one of those things that, as a consumer, you're supposed to be aware of these things.
They
and
give
you're
you a blue
supposed to-
can or a black can. Use the blue one for recyclables.
It
And
has
a
glass
picture.
paper.
Yeah, it has pictures of glass paper and
Yeah.
pan on it.
Yeah. I've posted several videos and I've gotten a lot of feedback on it because people they just didn't know.
It's that
you know?
ignorance thing.
Yeah, it's really sad that there's not that education. But I'm glad that Republic Services now has the budget for that, and that I don't know how many people they've had come get tours there, but I know when I went, there was like 35 or 40 people, and it completely, like, our nonprofit Las Vegas ICO, we banned plastic bottles and single-use plastic at our meetings and stuff, because after going to that tour, people were like, well, wait a second, we're supposed to be advocates for our Mother Earth, yet we provide plastic water bottles. And so it's like one of those things that if you don't know, you don't know. And a lot of the older generations too, it was different then. Like my grandma still cleans out her cans and she still recycles them and everything, and it was
Crushes
huge.
them.
And now, like, apartment complexes, schools, they don't recycle and they don't talk about it. And on my hikes with these kids I go on, and we talk about recycling, and leave no trace principle is meaning that you take other people's trash, you leave no trash, and you leave Mother Earth as it is. So if people are like, why can't I take one rock? Well, Red Rock Canyon has over 1 million visitors. If every visitor took one rock, there would be no rocks for everybody to see. So it's the same concept with trash. You leave your trash in your backpack and you take it home, and if you see trash, you pick it up. Well, a lot of the kids are like, well, I don't know what recycling is, or, my complex doesn't allow recycling, and our schools don't recycle.
I didn't know that their complex would say no.
Yeah. A lot of places, especially here on the east side and north, that they don't allow it whatsoever. And I'm just like, for me to think that there's people who want to recycle and don't have they have to drive all the way up to Republic Services to drop off their recycling, and most people, like, I don't even have time. I would probably just sit in my car and
a lot of people are on a budget.
Us as a business with stuff here, like, we've been struggling trying to figure out how, because we need to call Republic Service or something, because right now what recycling means is we take it home, throw it away in our recycling.
That's what I do for our business as well. Between me and a coworker, in our meeting, we were like, well, what can we do different in the office when we moved offices? And I was like, we need to have recycling. And, of course, they're like, well, somebody needs to claim responsibility. And me and my coworker are the first ones to have our hands up. And we go back and forth between it. Now, I called Republic Services and reduced my bins to, like, the really small ones. So most of the time I can't take it because it won't fit in my bin. But huge box every single week.
Wow.
To think that would have just gone into landfill.
Sure.
And, just educating them about it. I sometimes go back down to plastic bags, and I put in our group chat, like, hey, reminder, like, plastic bags can't be recycled, or hey, reminder, napkins and used paper can't be recycled. Now, those things, will break down and aren't like plastic, but when you send it to Public Services, they're spending their money on sorting that when they could be spending their money on education, or, just reaching out to schools and providing bins for, certain communities.
We need to make a PSA for this. I think we need to get Leo in here. We'll do another video on this. Let's do a commercial on
Leo,
that.
it's your calling.
Yeah. Listening, hopefully.
Well, he actually filmed me. I did several videos that I posted, and it's on my website, healthyveganrecipe.com, about recycling, and I even show, like, what you can and cannot recycle. And it's just really amazing because people don't know. And myself, I was like, oh my gosh, there again, I thought I was doing the best I could because I was recycling, and I was like,
and then you learn that the recycling is so let's get back to the numbers. How do we identify on our plastics what
they are on the bottom?
Like on the bottom of the jar.
What's funny is it has, like, the little recycling symbol,
logo.
And so people think that means that you can recycle. If you think of, like, grapes, like the bags that grapes come in, they have that thing, so people think you can recycle that, but you can't recycle it. It's telling you what type of plastic it's made out of.
Right. So in the center, there's a number of that recycling.
So you'll see 1, 2, 3, and on really, 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 really cheap plastic, you won't even have a number.
There's no number.
And it makes
you can assume it's a 7, right?
Most likely, or an unknown number.
It's like a 9. There isn't a 9 yet.
Of plastic.
Oh God.
Well, the problem is too, because plastic can only be recycled so much. Because what they do is they melt it down and they turn it into those beads, and those beads are turned into what we know is like plastic balls and stuff like that. They can't continue to do that.
Over and over and over again.
It doesn't work that way.
And one thing I want the viewers to think about, and this is kind of what really touches home, is any piece of plastic that has ever been created is still on this planet today.
Right.
Not going away.
There's no way. People are like, oh, it's out of my house, I'm done.
Yep.
And one video that I showed, I don't know if it was the one that you guys read or it was a different one. In my zero waste class, I showed a video of a third world country, so they say, where the river and there's all this plastic, and people think that it's their trash.
We did see that at your
yeah. I don't know if you remember the young lady that cried because of it. She,
Chris, she still comes around here.
Yeah. People think that they produce that trash. And it's like, no,
Sure.
we send our trash over there, overseas, so that it's out of our hands, and then it makes them look bad.
There's also like a really close friend of ours has been studying in Thailand,
Mhm.
and the amount of plastic that they use is baffling.
Way crazier than ours.
Way crazier.
Oh yeah.
So she'll buy, like, let's say a fruit juice, right?
Mhm.
And the fruit juice is the cup itself is wrapped in plastic, and
Right.
that has a plastic
Yeah.
bag and all this stuff. And like if you
It
buy
comes in a plastic bag, though. They give it to you. Everything comes
in a plastic bag. Like even your fruit, like just one single fruit is wrapped
yeah.
in cellophane.
If you guys
and then
ever
that
go to
comes in a plastic
Chinatown,
bag.
it's like
unbelievable.
it's ridiculous. They'll have like a pear wrapped in like that
That's exactly
squishy
what
plastic
Yep, like the
in a plastic thing, and then put it in a plastic bag. Or
Exactly.
sometimes I see people in the store putting bananas in a plastic bag. And what's crazy is these plastic bags are used on average for 12 minutes, and then they're never used again.
Right.
So
Crazy, right?
Yeah, my boyfriend and I,
Look at
when we
that.
forget our reusable bag, a lot of the times we're tempted to use it. But you know what we do is we take the cart out with all of our stuff in there, and we put it in our cart because it is our responsibility to do that. We are conscious beings, and we're able to make those choices.
So
So
people look at you so funny. I've
Oh.
done that very thing, and the looks is ridiculous. And you're like, yeah, this looks like crazy behavior. I understand that.
I actually had a store tell me, because we had the basket, and they're like, we can't take the basket outside. And so I literally took my shirt, and he started putting like all the fruits and veggies in my shirt, and we walked out like that. They probably thought like we were stealing all this fruit, and here it is. We just don't use bags.
Because they were
you
being
know?
a jerk and saying you can't take the basket out.
Yeah. And I was like, what does it matter? We'll bring it back. Like, obviously, if we're, being this conscious not to use plastic bags, we're
Steal your
going
stupid
to,
plastic basket.
we're going to bring your basket back. Yeah, exactly. So, but, I'm glad that I do that, because it does, plastic bags are only used on average for 12 minutes, and they're never used again.
Yeah.
People are like, they're shocked even though they do it.
Yeah.
I had a lady at
Yeah.
Target the other day. I refused to get plastic bag.
Mhm.
And I only had like 3 items. I got toilet paper and like dog biscuits or something like that. I carried it to
Right.
the register.
Yeah.
I can carry it to my car.
Right.
Sure.
And so she goes, well, we don't charge to use plastic bags here. Apparently they're charging for plastic bags somewhere. I don't know.
Right.
But
In California,
She told me-
California's outlawed plastic bags, but if you want them, it's 10 cents.
so she told me we don't charge for plastic bags, and I just rudely, instinctively, it's rude to others, probably not to myself though. I just
Right.
well, it's gonna end up in the ocean anyway or landfill, so I'm good without it.
Yeah.
Like that's the truth.
Right.
And the lady behind me, she heard me, and as I was walking out, she goes, "Oh, I don't want a bag, please." And she had like 3 items too. That was probably going to be inconvenient that she normally would have done it,
Right.
but maybe because she heard me say that, she's like, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to use
Yeah.
plastic either.
Yeah.
Well,
you
no plastic for me
They
either."
may not charge for plastic bags, but the cost of taking one is higher than any of us should be paying.
Well, what's funny is that almost every store gives you a bag credit, right?
Mhm.
If you bring your own bag.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't care about that. So I'll give you 10 cents if you bring your own bag. They don't care about it. But you charge them 10 cents
All of a
and they
sudden.
flip out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Savers, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you're familiar with Savers thrift store out here.
Absolutely.
They're nationwide as well. Well, I actually just partnered with them, and we're going to be doing a video because as of June 2nd this year, they banned plastic bags.
What?
Yes, I don't know if you guys know that.
No.
And they actually
Now
have,
we know.
oh my gosh, they actually have like signs by the register
No
saying,
more Goodwill.
do you know X amount of plastic bags are put in the
Wow.
landfill? And what's really cool is that
Amazing.
they require that you bring your own, or you have to pay 10 cents for a paper bag. But the fact that every Savers is doing that, that's a huge corporation.
Huge impact.
So my video I'm doing with them on Friday, I'm going to be able to disclose information that is between them, and now we're going to give out to the world of how many plastic bags Savers is going to save.
Oh,
Right.
No
By
way.
yeah.
Can't wait to
And
get that
what
number.
I want to do, and I was talking to the executive of Savers actually up in Seattle, is that I want to use them as a business model so that I can go and take that video and present to other companies
Sure,
and-
and make an impact.
and make an impact.
Other
You know what?
companies.
It's they're not spending any more money. They're making a difference.
Yeah.
And their whole missions, especially somebody like them, is thrift stores. It takes 700 gallons to make one brand new shirt.
Yeah.
And I love thrift stores. Everything I wear and everything on my body,
Yeah.
every photo shoot I've done, I'm a model, a fashion model. I've been published. Even in the Enrique Iglesias music video, that was a Savers outfit. I spent $5.
That's
That's
so good.
amazing.
That's so
And
good.
I got so many compliments. I've been in fashion magazines wearing Savers outfits.
Amazing.
Nice. Yeah,
This
that's-
shirt, my friend Barbara, she sent me this shirt because she knows I like pineapples, and she's also a model. So instead of donating it. I just pay for shipping, and she sends me all of her, clothes, and we
That's
do like
nice.
kind of like a clothes exchange.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the pants I'm wearing, they're like $3. I always brag about it. People are like, oh my gosh, your outfit's so cute. I'm like, I paid $5 for it. And I can either donate it back to Savers and get 30% off my next order, or you can give it to somebody in need. So, and there's all this misconception of like, oh, well, it's dirty. I was a fashion major, so I find some good stuff in there,
The funny part is you said, oh, it's dirty. Well, yeah, you know what? It might be a little dirty. You just got to wash it.
Yeah.
2, the formaldehyde and all that stuff that they pack with new clothing, like that new clothes smell, guys, sorry, that's formaldehyde.
Right.
Yeah, because it just came out of a plastic bag on the
That's
shipping
the thing they keep it fresh in is the same thing that they embalm.
Or you're smelling the suffering of the poor slave overseas that made it.
And
that could be the smell too.
That's the big deal with the salmon not being like you buy brand new clothes, you are directly contributing to some little kid sewing your clothes for you.
And
that's like this shirt is not. This shirt is.
They do have fair trade.
Yeah, this shirt's fair trade, and every shirt you buy from this company's called 10. They plant 10 trees in the Amazon. Like they're trying to do the right thing, but there's not a lot of companies out there.
It's called voting with your dollar.
Absolutely.
It's not only it doesn't only pertain to food. Shopping at farmers markets and shopping local and doing that it goes to that extent of what you wear, the makeup you put. Animal cruelty is so huge that 100 million animals in the U.S. alone die from animal testing that is completely unnecessary. And these aren't just like farm animals. These are beagles. These are rabbits. These are monkeys.
Dogs, cats.
I mean, rats. All of these animals for no reason, just so that you don't have a chemical reaction when you put on a certain type of makeup. When there's plenty of
not only the animals being tested on, we just read that they use plastics in cosmetics.
Of course.
So and they also all the pills that you take. Plastics. So plastic, and that's you're just swallowing oil.
Yeah, literally oil and war. That's the bottom line too for me. A lot of it because he's a veteran and we have a lot of friends that have died in war.
My son's in the army.
And my son's in the army and he's not going for that. But the fact of the matter is war and the suffering,
over resources,
the suffering that it causes, not just to U.S. soldiers, but anybody that the conflict is in. We've got Syrian refugees, millions of people now that are homeless because of war.
Because of war for oil.
And it's sad because this is a perpetual state that our governments around the world are in.
Because we're addicted to plastic.
People
like to think it's your
it.
vehicles, but really vehicles, it's such a small percentage of the oil that they use. It's actually plastics.
And it's not just plastics, but it's also the chemicals. Most of the chemicals that we use are petroleum based.
Absolutely.
They're byproducts of petroleum oil. The word fragrance, for example, is a petroleum oil. There's many of the chemicals that are listed under that label that are petroleum oil. It's unheard of because we're in this consuming society that makes us have convenience, like you said. It just takes elbow grease and time.
Yeah.
Like literally, it takes our time and our elbow grease, like Grandma used to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And do it the old-fashioned way and repurpose and reuse your stuff and clean with items that are natural, which is,
put a little vinegar on anything,
baking soda, those my two go-to everything. And it really does make an impact on your health, and it makes an impact on the money you're spending. How much money do you save?
Oh,
being a minimalist, what is that like?
Oh my gosh, I probably spend $100, maybe $200 a year on clothes, and any of the viewers that are watching, you can go on my Instagram. Unless I'm being dressed by a designer, 98% of all my outfits here that I wear are from, thrift shops or trade. Like one of my favorite jackets I actually got here. I don't know if you remember. Jacket. I think it was a kid's jacket, but it fit me. It's a little like crop top, and it's like one of those things that if every person who said that they're only one person, like I have people that's one of the kickbacks I get. I'm just one person. What difference can I make? If every person who said that did a small change, we would see a drastic shift in our world, in the energy, in the way that we give back to the community, in the way our environment is treated, the respect for our Mother Earth. So I know, like, back to veganism and plant-based eating, about like people who are on their own journey and they go places. it took my family, my mom and dad, 12 years before they realized that they wanted to go on a plant-based journey, and they love it. And if I was rude, and I know they're probably going to watch this, and I was rude at times, and I'm sorry, but if I gave up on them, they would have never made this choice. You know, and whether you make it for your health, whether you make it for the animals, or you make it for our Mother Earth, this is above us. You know, it's about our future generations. Absolutely. And I have people say like, oh, well, I don't have kids and I don't plan on it. What about everybody else's children? Do you not care about children? Like I'm
or even our planet. Like that's like, again, that's projection. If I just make an excuse why I don't have to care, I get to forget about it, and I get to go. I get to go back to doing coke. And
I think a lot of people are in that mindset though, where they're just like
the blinders.
They don't care.
Yeah.
No, it's just like literally they don't.
It's the excuses. Like I always use. Just recently, maybe about a month ago, I went cliff jumping with my boyfriend in Lake Havasu, and I've always wanted to do it. Right.
Sure.
I stood up at the top while he was down holding my dog, and I named every single excuse.
Not to jump.
Why not to jump? Yeah. I was like, well, what if I can't swim? He's like, well, you're an animal. You'll be fine. And I was like, well, what if I'm not? He's like, well, I'm here to help you. It took me about 5 minutes, and I have it on film of coming up with every excuse. And I actually stopped and was like, okay, what can I say now? What can I say now? And he was like, are you done yet?
Yeah.
Just jump or what? What are you doing?
What's funny is I closed my eyes, and I was trying to justify me not jumping.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I open my eyes, and there's no ground beneath me. And then I smack and hit the water. I don't remember jumping. I don't remember, but I ran out of excuses, and I just did.
Just did it, yeah.
And that was a recent experience for me that kind of just opened my mindset to realize that when you stop making excuses for things like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I don't have this. And even if you just took one of those excuses and tried something, you'd be really amazed with what you can do. I was a broke college student. You know, and I still was able to, maintain a plant-based diet, and the best thing is to shop at thrift stores.
And it's all, that's just one thing too. There's many things people can do to just be better earthlings. But I see it daily. People walk right by garbage. Yeah. Literally, people walk right over it. They'll step over a piece of trash that's on the ground outside. Yeah. It's flying around. They'll step over it. If they took just a second, you can wash your hands. If you're worried about germs. Yeah. Pick it up and throw it in the garbage.
Sometimes germs can be healthy for you, get your immune system.
But that tiny little action, and performing an action that's really insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It's just one more piece of garbage that's on the ground outside.
But
big deal. But
1 million people did that.
Well, and if you do it one time, guess what? You're probably going to do it next time, and the time after that, and the time after that, and before you know it, you're picking up garbage all the time. Yeah. And that is a drastic change that's better than you are today. If you make these changes every day, little stupid ones like that don't cost you anything, doesn't hurt you any, it's zero effort on your part, but you're making such a significant change in your action, in your daily behavior, your energy changes.
Oh yeah.
You get a shift. All of a sudden you start to notice more trash. All of a sudden you start to notice people throwing trash on the ground. Yep. And then you start to feel things differently and see things in a different light. And then that's when more things can be incorporated into your lifestyle where you're doing things better just because you can.
And that's why, like, a lot of people ask me, like, with this title, like, what's my platform? And, like, for me, I'm like, okay, you guys know me. I have so many things I'm doing.
Super busy woman.
And so I'm just like, okay, well, my platform is multiple. I can't just pick one. It's reduce waste, go vegan, support locals. Yeah. Because if you can pick a single issue in one of those little categories, you'll have a drastic shift.
Absolutely.
Reducing waste it just makes sense. Like if you don't need it, just don't get it, and just be mindful of what you're purchasing and throwing away. Of course, going vegan or just going plant-based, reducing what you consume.
It sounds like you have picked one.
Yeah.
The environment.
Exactly. Yeah. It all is back to why I'm an Earth warrior, is because it all goes back to our Mother Earth. Shopping local, it helps the environment. It helps, when I met you guys and I saw what you were doing, it melted my heart, to be honest, because to see that there are people out there who care about our Mother Earth, and again, none of us are perfect, but you're here with this mission, and you guys are here to try to make a difference in this community, and you bring this community together. you give a safe home where people can come and be who they are and feel safe and just do amazing things, teach classes and give a great venue for people to do that. And I know they are sponsoring my sister queen, Taylor, Miss Nevada Earth on Saturday. She's doing a However Hemp. And just to be able to connect you guys to that, just to bring you guys together to do those things, you know, and they, local artists, they sell local stuff and, you know, just supporting locals. You believe in somebody's vision, somebody who could be like your mother, your sister, your father, yourself. And when you start believing in other people and believing in the community, you get that right back.
Totally.
So I'm a firm believer, you know, the more you give, the more you get. And it's 100% true, but you have to give from your heart. You can't just say, I'm going to donate this because I want to feel good about myself and donate it and expect to get all this love back.
Abundance,
because you're not going to get it. Because if you're not doing it because you truly want to do it, then there's that you know, disconnection there.
Really, I don't know. You kind of sound like you're the same way, but all those things you said, like, we're not thinking about it. We're just doing it because that's what we're doing. We're not doing it to get anything back. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's of service, you know, and you're of service to Earth.
Right.
Totally.
You know, and we all have our parts in this whole.
Exactly. It's a community effort. We have to come together as a community. We have to use, each of us have our own strengths of what we're doing. And if, you know, if we can find people to balance out those, you know, that's why it's really great with my boyfriend and our balance of things. You know, I talk a lot, as you guys probably know, and he's a little bit more quiet.
But podcast.
I know, right?
This is the perfect place to talk about.
You know, you have to have that balance because if he talked as much as I did, oh gosh, like this would not work out because, you know, he's a great listener. I'm a great talker. You know, I listen at times too. I love going out and I push myself and do these things. And he reminds me that I need to step back and take time for myself.
Deep breath.
So without him there, you know, telling me like, hey, it's okay to not go do something after work. But then also I'm like, hey, come on, like, let's just go out and do something.
We have work to do.
So so it's like that great balance. And the same thing with the community. If you can find somebody who's good at doing something, you need to pair up with that person. And that's why I love doing pageants because of my sister queens and being able to meet these people all over the United States and like specifically my sister queen here in Nevada because she's local. We can do great things together and to be able to be like, I know the perfect people that you need to be introduced to and to be able to switch that connection. I had the connection. She has the voice. You guys have an amazing, safe venue.
She was so happy too. She came in here. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
No, she was just like, I have looked everywhere for a venue. And because of her platform, a lot of people are telling her no because it's hemp. And that to me, that's just such. It's just hemp. It's not even ignorance. Anything else. It's not marijuana. It's such hemp. And we run because the name of this show is Hemp Podcast. Happy Earth Market Podcast. Right. We just got really lucky with that acronym.
Nice.
Right. Totally intended for that.
You just called it Happy Earth Market so that we have a podcast?
Yeah, Happy Earth Market Podcast.
Fucking sweet.
Came up with the podcast before the Happy Earth Market.
But, so I won't drop any names, but we did some promotion with a huge festival that happened here, right? And then the deal was, we'll do the promotion on this show and they'll use their big promotion wheelhouse to promote the show. So we thought it was this great opportunity. And when they saw the name wasn't Happy Earth Market Podcast, that it was Hemp Podcast, that died. They're like, sorry, we can't put it out.
Yeah.
And it was a venue that we thought that would be totally for it. It was a local food thing.
The people that job there are totally on it, but the corporation itself isn't, you know, and that's the whole stigma, but whatever.
Well, what's perfect about her mission and what she believes in is it's that hemp can reduce drastic waste. Hemp can replace all plastics. Hemp can replace all fishing nets. Hemp can replace all rope. We're not talking about the drug. We're talking about the resources that used to be available and that is no longer available. So
there's no reason. You know why it's outlawed, right? Like the reason why way back when? I'll just be brief.
Yes.
I'll just be brief. So when they outlawed alcohol and all the other drugs, and William Hearst, who owned all of the paper mills at the time, saw it as a way to stop hemp because that was his biggest competition, so that he could continue to cut down the lumber. So William Hearst actually sponsored Reefer Madness and all those things and was able to get hemp as a scheduled drug, and it hasn't changed since because of the paper industry.
Right. Yeah, it's all money based and you know, when there's, you know, the saying, like, when all the trees are cut down and all the animals are dead and all the rivers are dirty, money can't buy any of that. Money cannot fix that. So, like, when all these people are just in greed for money, it's like, well, I want fresh air to breathe. I want fresh water. I want a future. And one thing that kind of gives me a comfort in my mind, which is kind of sad, is that Mother Earth will never let us destroy her. She will destroy us before, but I don't want that to happen. So a lot of people are
doesn't
like,
need to
oh,
happen. That's the
well,
thing.
you know, Mother Earth is so big, like we can't destroy her, you know, we can't destroy her as a whole, but we can, you know, cause a great, you know, issue.
They all say she'll be fine. She'll
Yeah.
be fine. Well,
Listen
great.
to
What
what you're
about
saying.
us? What about
You're
the
saying
animals
she.
and the
Mhm.
plants that are here? What about all of the life that's here
Mhm.
right now? What about us?
Why would you
Yeah.
want to make your mom sick?
No, exactly.
She's not.
Made her all
She's
sick.
not their mom.
We have
Most of them
all-
worship God.
We have all resources on this planet to feed us, to clothe us, to bathe us,
Yeah.
to give us shelter, to protect us, to give us love, to,
Right.
you know, give us a sense of being. We have it all, you know, being part of Native American ancestry. We didn't need any type of corporations or anything to live, and you know, a lot of smaller, you know, cultures were like that, you know, and for me to think that, you know, we live in a world where money is like, you know, celebrities, and you have to have this, you have to have that, and then people still aren't happy.
Right.
It's like, well, what makes you happy? Nobody spends time outdoors. People are glued to TVs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the only person I know my age that does not have a TV in their house.
You don't have a TV, period.
No.
Oh, well, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. People come into my house and like, what do you do? And I'm like, I read, I go out into nature, I go camping, I volunteer, you know, I model, I do all these things.
Mhm.
And I'm like, people spend on
Busy
average
for TV.
2 hours a day on average.
I thought it was more than that.
I mean, probably with kids it is. I mean, that was
Yeah.
probably 4 years
Sorry,
ago I pulled that statistic.
I just want to know. Go ahead, keep
That's
talking.
right.
So it's like, for me, like if you took that time and actually did something,
Productive.
you know,
Do some work. Do
Yeah.
some work for Earth.
you could just read a book, you know, you learn a
Yeah.
lot from books. My mom, she used to read a book every single day. She's the smartest woman I
Wow.
know. And, you know, she didn't go to college, but she reads a lot of books.
Sure.
And so she is so smart. She's so knowledgeable. Anytime I always made bets with my friends, be like, oh, give me a question, whatever it is, I'm going to call my mom and she'll know the answer to it. And I forgot what question it was. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't think she's going to know that. And she knew it. She's like, oh yeah, I actually just read about that last week.
Oh
and
my
I'm
gosh.
like, who are you? Like, what kind of woman are you?
That's
Superwoman,
amazing.
you
So
know?
the average American
amazing.
spends 5 hours and 4 minutes watching television per day.
A day?
Mhm.
Wow.
5 hours and 4 minutes.
5 hours?
5 hours and 4 minutes a day. The average.
Wait, we just need to pause and just let
5 hours a
let that
day?
think.
The average American. Who is this average American?
That's
curious.
the regular person that goes to work, comes home, they eat dinner in front of the television, and then they watch their shows until it's time to go to bed, and they go to bed.
So the whole time they're awake, they're either jobbing or
Or watching television, yeah. And
What a depressing life.
that's regular
You're missing out
television.
on the experience.
That's
It's a
broadcasting.
human experience.
That's broadcasting. It definitely breaks it down. It's not saying, oh, they're watching documentaries or something.
Right, of course.
That is watching
Televised
regular
TV.
television. Yeah.
That's wow.
Mm.
Well,
They
that's
are,
hard.
but we aren't. So
Mhm.
that's that.
But I just didn't think it was
You know,
that high. I thought it was
that's
like.
crazy.
No, I thought like 2, 3.
Yeah.
At least that's
That's
what
why
it
we
was
need
like a couple
commercials.
years ago.
That's why we need TV commercials, because that's who are
Mhm.
those people watch TV. They don't go outside and see, or they're not even checking Facebook to see what's happening. You know, they're not checking the
Yeah.
events to see if there's a cleanup happening. They're on Facebook to.
And you know, there's a lot of research out there showing that people who spend time indoors as much as
Yeah.
most people, they have a lot of health issues
Yeah.
because we need the sunshine, we need the fresh air. Like
And
people
vitamin
think the
D
sun is
essential.
bad.
Yeah, no, good for you.
The
You
sun
need
is
that
so
vitamin
good
D.
for you.
Yeah.
Not
you
to
know?
mention all the chemical use in their homes. They have
Mhm.
so much carcinogens inside their home that it's actually
So
unsafe
it's-
to breathe.
Yeah.
Literally, people are worried about carbon monoxide poisoning. Really, they should be worried
You're
about their
right.
glade poisoning.
All those,
Yeah.
all of that has fragrance, and that fragrance is like that's the reason they like. Wow, I got allergies. I need to. That's one of the things
Go to the
causing
doctor
you to
and
feel
get some
sick.
pills.
Mhm.
Like sincerely, one of the things
Yeah.
that like if I go to somebody's house that has those Glade plugins
Oh,
and all
I
that stuff,
can't.
I'm like my whole
And
like
dryer sheets. You can smell
dryer
people's
sheets are the
clothes.
worst. Tableau.
Yeah.
Like you can really smell people. It's
Yeah.
almost offensive
So,
sometimes.
Do you make your own soaps and all that?
Yeah, well, I use soap nuts and just baking soda. And it's funny because everybody's like, oh, well, are your clothes dirty? And I'm like, I don't know. I would hope people would tell me if I smell bad or whatever. But when you start to, you know, eat healthier and, you know, eat plant-based and lots of fruits and stay hydrated, you know, you don't have as, you know, you don't smell as bad. And like, it's just the truth. It's just the way it goes. And back to like, even just going to the animals, like a lot of people think pigs are like dirty and they're sweaty. They actually don't sweat and they're one of the cleanest animals on the planet if they are in their natural environment. And it's kind of funny. I always tell people like, why do we as humans think that we are any different than animals? We are the only animals on this planet who are pulling outside of the synchronicity of Mother Earth. Every other, like all life will continue on Earth without us there.
Totally.
So
you know what happens to a pig if you release it? A regular pig. If you release it,
no.
within like a few months, it grows all its hair back. Within a year, it has its tusk. It's totally back to being a feral pig.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like they just right back.
Yeah. So I've hugged a lot of pigs in my days, and they are just, you go over, even if they don't know you, you go over, and they literally roll over for a belly rub. You know, and they don't know my intention. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they sense that, like, I just want to give them smooching on their belly. But
they are
animals.
Honored, I've tended to like big hogs, and they are honored. Like, I don't want out of here.
Oh yeah, there was this one pig at a sanctuary I went to, and he came from a very abusive, and he was. Yeah. We called him like the grumpy old man, and he would kind of like charge at you, and then be like, "All right, now you know, I'm gonna back up." And but it's one of those things that. We're all earthlings here. We all, have to have a role to take care of our Mother Earth, and it's really great to have this podcast and just to be able to, reach other people out there who might have similar beliefs and maybe just don't know where to start or who to talk to, or that they're alone. They're not alone.
Nobody's alone. Just Google it. You can just Google it and learn everything you need to know.
I think it's too much too fast. You know what I'm saying? Like we went from basically no electricity to going to space in less than a century. We went from no computer to having the most powerful computers ever at our fingertips, and we went from still having a grandma having a garden to be able to get anything you want at the grocery store in just a couple of decades. So people think that this is the way we've always lived.
Right. No.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
So it's just too much too fast. I hope that there's been this huge shift to live that way. I just hope that we realize that it can be done better and still be as convenient and live oppositely. That's my hope.
Right. Well, in my Vegan 101 class that I taught at Health, Healing, and Happiness, one of my myths was, and this is a true fact, my 96-year-old grandma is still alive to this day, and she eats meat and is healthy. And people bring that up all the time. Well, we have to think back to her generation and what they were raised on. They had their own gardens. They had fresh fruits.
Grandma's garden.
They had pesticide and herbicide free produce. Organic wasn't a thing. Everything was just organic.
Yeah, because there was no GMO.
The meats, the eggs, and stuff were from their neighbors, and milk, as gross as it is, came in glass bottles, and they didn't eat mass amounts. They didn't have fast foods. They didn't have plastic bottles. Even though Coke was still out, it was in glass, which is you're still eliminating.
Coke was a dessert. It was a treat. It wasn't.
Right,
let's not forget
4 times a day.
Yeah,
they used elbow grease in everything that they did. They didn't have fancy tools that they could plug into,
or they didn't have a spray that would just dissolve something.
A chemical to clean it. They had to use elbow grease in every aspect of their home life and job life, for that matter. So.
And the environment, and it's just a totally different lifestyle. And I always say, like, hey, if we can go back to the way that our grandparents, or even like depending on how old people's parents are, we like you said, we just moved way too fast. I think 10 years from now, I am in hopes, and I'm very hopeful that there's so many people waking up right now that it's going to be for the positive. But again, we're working with
some corporations,
very massive.
But, the people. Here's the thing: it's that you have to consider and be really hopeful and excited about. Is consumerism changes everything. When GMOs doing that activism movement and being part of that change and the consumer change, where my dollar is no longer going to a GMO, it's going to an organic product. And I'm going to write these corporations, and I'm going to voice my opinion and say, hey, I'm not buying your stuff anymore, because guess what? I just learned about GMOs.
Right.
Until you get rid of that shit, I'm not going to buy your stuff anymore. And I'm telling all my friends.
Right.
Those actions that myself and thousands and thousands of other people did affected change. And now we see big corporations. Took 5-6 years, but we see it now. That time.
They don't care where, they just want the money.
They just want the money.
Tyson bought out a vegan meat company, and a lot of people were outraged about it because, and I was like, yes, I get it, but they don't care where they get the money from. They just want it. So if we as a consumer put our dollar and say, we do not want to eat animals, we want to eat plant-based substitutes, and we keep voicing our opinion, eventually, dairy farms are closing because people don't want dairy. And if we voice our opinion, change is happening, and it's going to happen because they don't care. It's sad, but they don't care where they get their money from. Walmart, for example, huge corporation. They have a huge supply of organic food now because they started losing shoppers.
Big time.
because they weren't doing
McDonald's.
that.
McDonald's is
they
getting
have a
organic.
vegan burger.
They're getting organic French fries.
Yeah,
And did you
Supposedly
see
by the end of this
they
year.
they announced paper straws too?
Yep.
They just
in the UK.
Yep.
So,
I
you
don't
know,
care where it is.
that's
It's
my point.
stunt.
No, I know
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
My point is we're not going to stop consuming. We can't get the people to
Right.
stop consuming.
Yeah,
we
we
know
cannot.
that to be a fact. But what we can do is continue to choose. Those of us that
Right.
are aware,
Mhm.
support as much as we don't like that corporation, support the product
Right.
that we want to see. Because if
Yeah.
we support that product, they're going to make more of it.
Mhm.
You know, and the
Right.
more of it there is, the cheaper it gets. Number
Mhm.
one, for all of us.
Yeah.
So it's not just rich people affording it, but
Oh,
it's
of course.
all people affording it.
Yeah.
And it changes all the other corporations because
Right.
now they have to compete
Yeah.
with this, you know, oh my gosh, we've lost all this money, and look at over there, they're making all this money because they got this new organic or new non-chemical product,
Right.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know,
exactly.
and it affects change across the whole market because we, the consumer, are paying for it with our money.
Yeah,
So, no, I'm
it's a
done.
beautiful thing that we have. People think we
It's
don't
huge
have the
power.
power. We have the
Huge.
power. We have the money that these people want. So we need to
No,
use it
it's
wisely.
consumer-based society.
Mhm.
If we decided to spend our money differently, that's where the market's going to go. And it only takes 3% shift for them to go, oh shit, over here, everybody's
Yep.
eating vegan. Dude, that's where all these vegan options are coming from.
Oh, almost every restaurant here in Las Vegas, like Nacho Daddy,
Yeah,
for example,
Mhm.
they have an entire vegan menu because they realized people weren't going there because they didn't have options.
Yep.
And I have a lot of people that when they go there, they're not vegan, but they get it off because it's available.
Right.
And they're like, well, what do you
What's
mean
that?
I can
Let's
have a
try that.
spicy chicken wrap with nachos and there's no animals in it? Let me try it. And they like it. And they know that they can go back for more.
Right.
And for me, that's a huge shift in Las Vegas. So, I mean,
I'm at the point of too and not caring what I'm like. Do you guys have any options for vegan vegetarian? And they get like the restaurants like, you guys, fuck you, man. Seriously, like we want food too. If you don't have it, then I won't come here. It's
Right.
easy. Just say no and it's done.
and it's not just, for the animals. There's people who have religious beliefs that, they don't
Totally.
consume animals, health issues that they don't consume, animals. There's so many, maybe they just don't want to do it. Maybe they want
Yeah.
to feel light and fresh and they just want a salad,
Right.
but not a boring salad. There's other reasons
Yeah.
besides
And
like that crazy vegan.
I hate that. Oh, but there's lettuce. Too much. You use lettuce. That's not true. I want more than lettuce.
Yeah, there's like 84,000 edible plants that are available to us, and people
Yeah.
are always like,
It's so silly.
well, what do you eat? And I'm like, there's two things I don't eat: animals and animal byproducts. Out of all of the edible
What do you
plants and grains
You know how much
and
food there is?
herbs
Yeah,
and
most of
everything,
it's not animals.
I don't eat two things:
Yeah.
animals and animal byproducts. And people think it's so difficult. I'm like, that's just two things.
That's like-
It's unbelievable.
It's like 90% of the grocery store.
Right.
Just walk around the grocery store. That's what I eat.
Yeah.
Besides the stuff on the outside edges.
the meat section's pretty small,
Back
dude.
section.
Look
Yeah.
how big the produce section
Oh
is.
my gosh,
Yeah.
bright colors. It's like literally the rainbow, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can get like 5 varieties of apples and plums and peaches and cherries, and you're just like,
I know
you
that.
wonder what I eat,
Yeah.
So, is there anything,
As long as
any
I'm
food that
forever.
you miss?
No, not
No?
really.
None?
Mhm.
14. That was
Yeah.
one time.
I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up on like venison and turkey,
Okay.
and so I didn't really have like beef burgers and hot dogs and like
Sure.
weird stuff like that. So, and I never had seafood ever in my life because that was my first connection. I didn't know why, but I guess I do know why now. But when I was younger, we'd always go on fishing trips at our cabin on the lake, and
Yeah.
I'd always like go fishing with my grandma, and I wouldn't put the worm on the hook because like they ripped the worms in half, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're squirming because you just squeeze them in half. And then I didn't want to catch a fish because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you can actually see their face, like they suffocate,
Right.
and so in my mind as a child, I was like, well, I wouldn't want to be like thrown into the water, and so I would never eat it. And so for me, like a lot of people are stuck on seafood,
Mhm.
and so thankfully I was like, well, I've never had that before, but it's one of those things, especially now, it's 2018, you can get lasagna, nachos, burritos, tacos, deep fried, whatever you want,
It's all delicious.
pizzas, and
It's
I
all-
mean,
And the fake meat's finally tasting good. Like I just
even the cheeses too, like some of them,
the cheese are getting close.
they're so like cheesy that like I won't eat them because it kind of freaks me out.
Kind
Like,
of reminds you of real cheese.
I don't know. I think it's the Beyond Burger or whatever. My friend posted this video on Facebook or Facebook
Yeah.
Live, and she was like, I don't know. It actually smells like meat. And she's only been vegan for I think like
Gosh.
6 years. Like for me, I have no idea. Like I have no idea I don't even remember, really what it
Yeah, I
tastes
hear
like or whatever. The only thing that I would say I miss is cannolis.
Oh yeah.
Growing
Yeah.
up Sicilian, my grandma always had cannolis.
Right.
And actually, Bryn, she's a vegan activist out here. I'm not sure if you've heard of her or not, but
Uh-uh.
she posted maybe a week ago about like what foods do you want that aren't out there? And I was like, please make a cannoli, like please make a cannoli. So that would be the only one thing, and I don't really miss it, but it's just more like of a, you know, cult, like I would eat so
Right.
like my grandma would be like, why are you eating that many cannolis? I'm like, why are you complaining? They're delicious, you know. So that would be one thing that like I have never seen, at least where I've lived. I know that they're out there, and I know I can easily make them myself. But that's one thing that I haven't seen is, you know, I finally saw vegan baklava. Violet's Vegan has it, and so does there's the farmers market, Bridgetown Park. They have
the vegan baklava.
Vegan. It is huge too. It's like just crazy. You just gotta be careful. Eating one serving.
Vegan. What's the Mexican sandwich? Tapas, not tapas. Anyways, it was delicious.
Yeah. So right now, there's really no. I mean, if people are like, if people use that as an excuse, that's like the least like excuse you can use. You know, like I get it. You know, it might. My dad, his favorite sandwich. We went to this vegan restaurant is a pulled pork, but it was made with sweet potatoes. So it's sweet potatoes with barbecue sauce on a pretzel bun.
Yeah.
He is like,
that sounds amazing.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I didn't try to eat it in like 3 bites, but
Second.
you know, it's like one of those things that if you don't know, like you have this. Anytime, like when I was younger and I would make vegan food, I wouldn't tell people it's vegan because they automatically be like, "That's gross." I remember like these beef crumbles with my dad, and he was eating all these tacos, and then I ate some. He's like, "Oh, you're eating that?" And I'm just like, and afterwards I was like, "Oh, they're vegan." He's like, I think that's why they tasted weird. And I'm like, you weren't gonna say anything.
We've done that with tacos too.
You know, like you weren't gonna say anything.
Was that falafel you turned into taco? Yeah.
So what are you doing right now? What's going on with you as far as pageantry goes? I know we got some amazing things happening. Coming up.
So I leave in 19 days, so which is like super crazy. We do have public speaking, so it's a 2.5-minute speech on why we believe you're the best American ambassador for our Mother Earth.
That sounds scary.
And it is, but it's not, because when you truly believe in who you are and what you're about, there's no reason to be scared. I'm just telling people what I'm about, you know.
Inspiring
people. You know, it's one of those things that if you don't truly believe in what you're trying to say is where you get nervous, because like, for example, with interviews, you're going to ask me about what I believe in. So why am I nervous? Because I'm just going to tell you.
Sure.
And if I don't know something, I'm just going to be honest about it. So I have more excitement than nerves. And yes, speaking at Health, Healing, and Happiness helped me get some of those nerves out, and just all the things that I do just kind of got my nerves out a little bit. But you know, just mentally preparing, helping my pageant sister. This month, June 2nd, I did my Think Global, Act Local project. Think Global, Act Local is you do something on a local scale level that can make an impact on a global scale. So a lot of businesses are joining this Think Global, Act Local movement.
Awesome.
And that's the beach cleanup that I did with my
company.
with the company, Vegas Homes Realty, because they want to be a part of the community. And so I did that, and it was just so amazing. And I'm going next Friday to do a video for Savers, and I'm going to show, and I'm actually going to pick my outfits that I'm going to wear for my interview and for my appearances for the pageant at Savers.
Right on. That's going to be fun to watch.
I'm so excited. It's like one of those things that like I get super excited because you find really good stuff there for that. I have another podcast, the Las Vegas Vegan Show. It's a newer show, and I got asked to be a guest speaker on that as well.
Awesome.
So we're going to talk about veganism, and then we're going to do a mystery smoothie drink. I'm going to make a mystery smoothie, and the host is going to have to guess what it is. It's all fruits, nothing. I'm not gonna put like hot sauce in there or anything like that. It's all gonna be fruits, and we're doing a food drive also at my place of employment, and we're donating to Food Not Bombs.
Awesome.
And we're doing the whole month of June for Think Global, Act Local, because again, they are an international nonprofit, but they're also here locally as well. And we already have over 500 food items.
That's
and
fantastic.
What's really cool about Food Not Bombs is they are vegetarian, vegan based, but they of course do accept all foods as well. So a lot of the stuff that we are collecting is vegan or plant based, which is really awesome.
That's cool.
And so we still have half the month left, 10 days left. So we're hoping to be able to double that to get like up to 1,000 canned items to donate to them to, just help out our local community.
Yeah.
If you have, you can give. And if you can't, we tell people it's not mandatory because, everybody has their own thing that they're going through. And we don't expect anything. But if you can bring one can, or I even told people, like, if you can't go to the store or you don't want to, give me $5. I'll go do it for you. I'll go do it. It's no problem. And if you can't, maybe you can help load the truck when they come, or maybe
time is the one.
Just help out.
maybe
Time
spread the word, So
Sure.
that's one of the cool things. I just hosted my first real estate meetup and had 45 people attend,
Wow.
which was so exciting. And I wore my sash and crown, of course, and was able to just talk to people about not real estate. I actually talked to them about my pageant and my mission to just kind of get my voice out there. And I just had tremendous community support. It was so awesome.
Nice.
And just, practicing with walking and staying in shape and, doing some fitness. And of course, I know you mentioned in the beginning, I'm not wearing any makeup for all those you can see. I am a firm believer that
you're beautiful. You don't need it.
Thank you. If you can't feel comfortable in your own skin, now, I love makeup. Don't get me wrong. I love being able to, look something I'm not in, my photo shoots, but I love myself without makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I know a lot of people who I've never seen without makeup, which if that's your choice, that's your choice. But you should feel confident and you should feel comfortable in your own skin, because if you're not, then you have something that you need to reflect on, do some meditation on that, because it's the society standards that you have to wear makeup, you have to contour your face, or you have to have these luscious eyelashes, and you have to, do all of these things. I'm really bad at keeping my eyebrows in shape, I guess I should say. The Sicilian part of me gets to it. And I'm not ashamed about it. I go and when I went to Health, Healing, and Happiness, I had some hairs here, and I was telling people, nobody brought it up, nobody cared,
Right.
And I'm just if that's who I am, if I have to, pluck my eyebrows and be perfect, then I'm setting a standard of what I don't believe in,
Mhm.
if
You're fitting in that box that
Yeah,
they said you had
exactly.
to be in.
So when I competed for the state title, I found out the pageant was outside, and of course I was really worried because I'm makeup, and I use natural makeup, so I'm not so worried about the chemicals, but still your face isn't able to breathe.
Right.
All I wore was foundation, fake eyelashes, and chapstick.
Okay.
And I got more compliments
Wow.
than people are wow, you're glowing. I love your makeup. And I'm it's
You're
foundation
glowing.
and eyelashes.
You're glowing.
Yeah,
So that's great.
It's one of those things that, you have people looking up to you. You have people who are inspired by you. And I don't want people to think that you have to, you have to look a certain way or conform, fit into a certain way. Yes, you should be polite. Yes, you should respect others. Yes, you should have poise and grace, and you should, walk like you mean it. There's certain things that you can do besides, looking beautiful.
good,
And that's why they call it beauty for a cause.
Totally.
Because we're beautiful on the inside and out. We're not just these glamorous girls who wear fancy dresses and wear crowns.
Right.
We are actually doing things that change the community, that change the way people, view pageant girls. And this system is just so amazing. And I've met such
That's neat.
I'm so excited to, meet all these girls. I know Elite Rhode Island, she's been vegan for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And she just does amazing things. And we've talked on the phone, and we've just texted back and forth. And we're so excited. It's one of those things that you can connect with people from all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
So, and of
Very
course,
cool.
I'm going to go to DC, and I'm also going to be competing for Face of the World USA, which is a modeling competition. It's not a pageant competition, but it's actually the same week in DC at the same location when I'm going. And so that's full-blown
tough.
modeling, nothing pageant related. They
Yeah.
probably don't care about my platform, but I am in love with modeling. I love being able to make this as artwork. It's just like
Right.
painting. It's just like photography. Is you're creating something that you're not every day.
Right.
So when people, and I hope that I'm changing the way people look at modeling, because I get messages on Facebook, and this is where I can get some negativity, and people are like, oh, you're so perfect all the time. And I'm like, you must not know me,
Right.
because
You're judging
every
me off my
day
Facebook.
I don't wear makeup.
Right.
A lot of my posts, I don't put makeup on.
Mhm.
Yes, when I'm submitting to magazines, I'm being somebody that I'm not
It's
every
your
single
job.
day, and that's okay.
That's your
It's
job.
acting. It's just like
Yeah.
acting. When you have actors who are mean, but they're really nice in person, they're just doing their job.
It's a
And
job.
so it's one of those things that everybody can be, anybody can be a model. If you're confident, and that's what it is, you have to be confident in yourself.
Mhm.
This confidence is what wins.
Boost it.
Yes, get it, everybody go. And if you're confident in yourself, people are going to fall for that confidence.
Right.
It's not like, oh, she's beautiful. It's like, wow, she presents herself well.
Do you feel there's a misogynistic or a chauvinistic level to modeling?
Oh, of course. Just like with any industry, I mean, being a fashion major and living in California, there's always going to be, just like in pageantry, there are sometimes that 1% where, you know, she might not be mean, but she's not going to talk to you and be friendly.
Sure.
So just in any industry, you're going to have those type of people that think they need to fit into a certain role. And of course, you know, the fashion industry and the modeling industry is a tough industry.
It's cutthroat, huh?
It is. And I've had people tell me I'm too fat.
I was just about to
I've
ask
had people
that,
tell me I'm too skinny. I've had people tell me I'm too short, I'm too tall, which I'm like, 5'4", what are you talking about? My hair's not long enough, my hair's not full enough, my hair's not shiny enough, it's not short enough, my eyes aren't dark enough.
So it just never ends.
It never ends. And that's one of those things is that you have to be confident in yourself, because I walk out of there, thank you very much, and go on to the next person.
Sure.
Where, you know, other people, they
So
break
hard.
themselves down,
Yeah, I
they
can
try to
see it.
lose weight, they try to gain weight.
That's where a lot of the eating disorders and stuff comes from
Exactly.
the industry.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, you know, I'm not going to fit everybody's expectations of what they want. You know, if they say I want a medium height female with brown hair and brown eyes, that's not very detailed on what they want, you know?
Right.
So then I go to the audition, for example, and, you know, they're like, oh, well, I look too young, you know, for my age.
Not what we want.
They wanted somebody who looked 30.
Mhm.
I'm closer to 30 than 20, but I don't look like it.
Yeah.
I can't take that. I'm not, you know, it's like, oh, okay, thank you very much. You know, be polite and move on.
Right.
And I actually, when I was in California, I first started modeling, somebody actually told me, and I was 20 pounds heavier than I am now, which no big deal, but they did tell me that I was a plus size model. And I went off on them, and I was like, you are the reason why women are unhappy with their body.
Totally.
And I went on about it in a post, and I was like,
I'm glad you did
I'm
that.
not mad about them calling me that. I'm mad because of all the people who believed that they were plus size when they weren't plus size. You know what? Even if you are, you know, it's whatever. There's everybody's different. We're all different, you know, and it's like you can have that balance of, you know, being healthy and whatnot. But it's one of those industries that people think you have to be, you know, rail thin. Now, thankfully, the way I eat and, you know, just being active, I mean, I eat a lot. I eat a lot of probably like 5,000 calories sometimes of fruit, and I can eat like whole melons by myself and things. And people are like, oh, well, you know, no, well, I don't eat processed foods. I don't eat cakes. I don't eat, you know, cookies and all this stuff. So it does help a lot. But to think, you know, I actually lost one of my best friends in high school from an eating disorder.
Oh, wow.
And to think that she was perfect. And to think that what happened for her was in 4th grade, there was a teacher that told her they were doing a project of Slim Fast. Somebody, she was the before, and she was the after.
Oh, wow.
In 4th grade.
Why?
And I lost my best friend because that teacher said she was the before and she was the after.
The teacher said this to her?
Yes.
And to the 2 kids?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And that's what started her eating disorder. And for me, like, I could cry, but I'm not going to.
No.
And it's like one of those things that, you know, in high school, because of something that an adult said that to a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even like crazy overweight,
An adult lady
you know.
on top of that.
My sister's running coach said her legs were too fat to ever be a runner, and to be a good runner, and that set my sister on a crazy journey of, to where she ended up joining the military so she could eat right again. Like, nothing she can do. It was crazy. Yeah, she was horrible.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's that, again, that society standard of what's beautiful, and like a Slim Fast, like that is like such processed stuff anyways.
Bullshit, right?
And so for me, like I actually remember getting the call, and I thought they were kidding. Like it was my friend that called me, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like I was still a child then. Like even though I was a senior in high school, I had no idea. I was like, well, that's not true. Like to this day, like I still I don't believe it, and it's weird for me because, you know, I hear all these people and these bullies and these people that just say such mean things to people, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like even if, you know, if you push that on other people, that has to do with you. That doesn't have to do, you know, if you call somebody ugly and if you call somebody mean, you're pulling out your own self, you know? So yeah, eating disorders for me is a big no-no because, you know, who says you have to fit into the society standards? And the fact that I did lose a really great friend of mine to that, and I didn't even know that she was suffering, and it wasn't until afterwards that her family, you know, explained what happened in grade school, and I was like, I wanted to find, like, that teacher should be in jail. Like, you can't tell kids that, and to think that now it's even worse.
To teach anymore.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you can't tell kids shit like that.
No. even if she was over, you never say that. Kids are kids. They're just going by like what their family is and stuff. And she was fit in high school. She played tennis. She was in great shape. Yeah. She was an amazing she was just an amazing person. Mary. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rest easy, Mary.
Yes, absolutely. So it's one of those things that you just have to be you. Don't stop being you because somebody says if you're always gonna have haters. You're always gonna have people that don't believe in you. And you know what? Forget about them. There's people out there who believe in you, and there's people out there who care about you.
Right.
Just like you said, sometimes it's not even worth arguing with people. Let it go and move on to the people that want to hear what you have to say because there's plenty of people out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's easier. It's definitely easier.
And it's easier on you.
Yeah, totally.
You can't beat yourself up trying to force somebody to believe what you want to believe. You just need to live your life, lead by example.
It'll make you sick trying to change other people.
It does, yeah.
Like literally, it'll stress you out to the point it's just enough's enough. Like, especially with our business, I can't focus on the people who are never going to come here.
I know.
You know what I mean? And we did for a while. We got to get this message out. How come this person isn't supporting and that person isn't supporting it?
Right.
But we have all the support over here on this other hand that we're not even thinking.
Give love to the supporters
because we're not focused on the people that are supporting us. You know what I mean? That's what we need to love because we're here for those people that already believe. You know what I mean? And I kind of like being an echo chamber.
Yeah. No, it's really amazing. I love what you guys do here. It's just so amazing. I actually posted that video today on my Elite Miss Nevada page, just as a little reminder.
Where can people find you, by the way? Because you've got a lot of different ideas. Yeah,
so many. My Instagram is Jody Marie _official. That's my modeling page. Okay. I have an Instagram for my food. I'm a raw food chef, and it's Sexy Plant-Based Chefs.
Ooh, yes. Sexy Plant-Based
And
chefs.
then for now, my title is Elite Miss Nevada. You can search that on Facebook, and that would pop up as well. And I also have my modeling Facebook, Jody Marie Official. And healthyveganrecipe.com is my website. I have a little bit about my story, my health journey, why I went vegan. I have videos on veganism, where do you get your protein, what about recycling, all of this stuff. And you guys can reach out to me. Any questions you have, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Mm-hmm. If you're questioning it, it's valid. My mom used to always say that, and I get people who say, I might have a stupid question. My response is, do you not know that answer? And they say yes, and I was like, well, that's a very valid question. Right. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Yeah, exactly. If you don't know, you need to learn.
Totally.
You need to have somebody. That's what I love about myself is I feel like people can come and talk to me, and I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm going to give you resources, and I want to be that person that people feel comfortable coming to and talking to, and getting vegetarians, non-vegetarians,
just getting support.
Vegans, just having that love and support because that's what people need is that sense of community, that sense of home, and especially in a city like Las Vegas, it's needed. It really is. But we have such a beautiful little tight-knit community here in Vegas, and I love it.
It's fun, right?
Well, this will probably air.
Do.
The official show will come out next Monday. Mm-hmm. So anything come up in the next couple of weeks that you want to plug?
Oh, yes, actually. Thursday the 28th, I'm doing a Plant for Pollinators event. You can just Facebook Plant for Pollinators and it will pop up.
What day is that?
The 28th, Thursday. Yeah, it's good. It's again about bringing awareness that our pollinators, are about 70% of our things that we consume come from pollinators, and so Vegas Homes Realty is sponsoring the seedlings and the little flowers that we're going to plant. Nobody needs to bring anything unless you have a fancy pot that you want, and we're going to supply everything. Awesome. And then you can go home, kid friendly, bring your friends, bring your family. Bruce Trent Park up in Summerlin. Okay.
Cool.
And we're going to do that, and you can bring it home, and that way the bees, when they're on their little journey, they can stop by, get a little, little love-in, and then keep on going. It is free. Yep. You don't have to bring anything again unless you have a fancy pot that you want. We're going to provide all the pots and dirt and the little flowers, and it's that's what I have coming up next week.
Awesome.
And then, of course, any love and support on my social medias, any questions you guys have, I'm here for you guys. And it's because of the community that I do what I do. It really is. So. When people tell me, oh, well, you inspired me, I just have to thank every person who's, been there for me and who supported me because, like I said, I'd be talking to myself or to my dog right now if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't for the community.
Gives you, I know for me personally, it helps me keep doing the good because I want to keep hopefully making changes for other
Totally.
people. I want to inspire people enough to change them.
Yeah.
You know, and you do a fantastic job. I'm so proud
Thank
of
you.
you, and I'm
Proud
so
to know
happy
you, yeah.
and honored that you're in our experience, and I get to share my experience with you and learn from you because you're a great teacher.
Well, thank you. Everybody comes into, you know, your life for a certain reason. So it's a mutual right back at you.
Oh, thank you. All right, so this show has been brought to you by Happy Earth Market. Obviously, it's been brought to you by Love Through Living. This show is brought to you by Gorilla Culture Clothing, and it's brought to you by Natural Awakening Las Vegas edition. So, thanks for listening, and we love you all.
Elite Miss Nevada.
Elite Miss Nevada.
Thank you
yay.
so much.
Thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And live video.